Welcome back to Axis Pakistan. I'm Omer Farooq Khan. We return today after a short break, and Pakistan hasn't paused for a moment. Politics has shifted, institutions have been reworked, borders have heated up, and now urban terrorism has resurfaced in a way that demands attention. Because earlier today, a suicide bomber struck the Federal Constabulary headquarters in Peshawar Sadr area, one of the one of the busiest commercial roads in the city, killing three FC personnel. This wasn't a peripheral target. This was Sadr, the heart of Peshawar, a place militants had not hit for quite a long time. So today's episode, originally planned to focus on Pakistan's political and security reset, now starts with a question we all thought we had moved past. Are militant networks returning to their old high impact urban playbook? Let's let's walk through this calmly, clearly, and with context. A suicide attack in Sadr is not just an incident, it's a signal. The FC headquarters is not simply a building, it represents the intersection of counterterrorism, policing, military operations, and Peshawar's busiest civilian district. If militants can penetrate this deep, two conclusions follow. Number one, their networks remain intact, and two, they are only again testing urban centers. And remember, this comes at a time when Pakistan's relationship with the Taliban regime in Kabul is already under severe strain. For months, Islamabad has accused Kabul of harboring TTP operatives. Kabul denies it. Pakistan has responded with airstrikes, border closures, uh, expulsions of Afghan refugees, a policy defined by pressure, not diplomacy. Today's bombing will harden positions on both sides because relations are at a very lowest point in history of these two countries, though relations between them always remained uh, shaky, strained, and under stress tension. The trust deficit always remained a salient feature, I would say, of Pakistan and Afghanistan's relations. But today's bombings, as it seems, will harden positions on both sides. Inside Pakistan, this attack will be interpreted by many in the security establishment as proof that the current hardline approach must continue or even escalate. Others, including some former officials, argue it shows the policy isn't delivering the security it promised. So there is these both arguments. The sitting security establishment, it has adopted a very tough stance against militancy and TTP and policy towards TTP and militancy, which, according to Pakistani authorities, emerged from Afghanistan. But whichever side is right, Pakistan or Afghanistan, what's clear is this: Pakistan has entered a new era of security unpredictability. And this attack marks a serious escalation. Now let's zoom out. This attack lands in a Pakistan that is already undergoing a deep structural shift politically, institutionally, and constitutionally. At the center of this shift is Field Marshal Asim Munir. Let's be clear, Pakistan does not hand out the rank of Field Marshal lightly. It is symbolic, yes, but symbols in Pakistan signal power realignments. Power today is more concentrated, centralized, more streamlined, and more vertically controlled than at any time in the past 20 years, in the last 20 years. So, and this centralization didn't appear out of nowhere. It began with an event that seemed unrelated, but ended up reshaping the entire system: the Pahalgam episode, the crisis that changed everything. The Pahalgam incident in Indian occupied Kashmir lasted only a few hours, but inside Pakistan, it set off a chain reaction. Internationally, India seized the narrative, but domestically, something else happened. Asim Munir emerged as the stabilizing center of gravity. What followed is no coincidence. Munir was elevated to field marshal. He received repeated public praise from President Donald Trump, who framed him as a reliable anchor in a tense region. A significant defense deal with Saudi Arabia moved forward, strengthening Pakistan's strategic and financial positioning, and most importantly, momentum built for Pakistan's biggest political redesign in decades. In Islamabad, many insiders describe the Pahalgam fallout as a win win moment for Munir, externally pressured but internally empowered. This set the stage for what came next, the 27th constitutional amendment. The 27th amendment didn't simply make cosmetic changes, it rewrote the political architecture. Parties boycotted the vote, calling it an unconstitutional power shift. But the amendment passed easily, backed by the establishment's weight. Here's what changed. Number one, centralization of political authority. This is the deepest centralization of power since 1980s, but achieved through parliament, not martial law. Two, restructuring the military command. A new role, the Chief of Defense Forces, replaces the Chairman Joint Chiefs, and the CDF integrates the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Strategic Command under a unified authority. And Munir, as Field Marshal, stands at the apex of this system. The The amendment also grants lifetime immunity to the five-star rank. Removal requires a parliamentary supermajority that simply doesn't exist in Pakistan's fractured landscape. Three, a new judicial order. Constitutional cases moved from the Supreme Court to a newly created Federal Constitutional Court. Critics argue this restricts judicial oversight of executive and security decisions. Four, tightened it the amendment. It tightened media space. Broadcast and digital platforms now operate under heavier regulation and more uniform messaging. Many political observers quietly say Pakistan is drifting toward a Chinese style governance model, centralized, disciplined, and continuity focused. Whether this model suits Pakistan's messy political culture is a different debate, but directionally, the shift is unmistakable. Now comes the arena where Asim Munir broke decisively with the approach of his predecessors, and that is Afghanistan. For years, Pakistan's strategy relied on dialogue, back channels, border coordination, even tolerance for the Afghan Taliban's internal constraints. Munir ended that. Under his command, Pakistan carried out deep reach aerial strikes into Kabul, Kandahar, and Khost publicly, owning them instead of hiding behind ambiguity. The largest expulsion of Afghan refugees in decades took place, a move earlier governments considered politically explosive and administratively impossible. Major border crossings, Chaman and Torkham, were repeatedly sealed, disrupting trade, medical travel, uh, education, labor, and essential supplies. Uh, Pakistan openly accused Kabul of allowing TTP sanctuaries, and negotiations with the TTP were declared dead. No talks, no amnesty, no intermediaries. This is the hardest Afghan policy Pakistan has taken in more than 20 years. But today's but today's suicide attack in Peshawar forces a blunt question. If pressure was meant to deter, why are militants striking deeper and more confidently inside Pakistan? Now let's tie tie everything together. The suicide bombing in Peshawar, the rise of a field marshal, the 27th Amendment, centralized media and political space, uh, and, a, and a confrontational Afghan strategy. These are not separate stories, they form one larger transformation. Pakistan is moving into a new model of governance defined by control of the political system, the information ecosystem, the security narrative, the national messaging. Supporters say this centralization is necessary to stabilize a country hit by economic stress, political fragmentation, and regional volatility. Critics warn it compresses dissent and leaves no room for corrective mechanisms. But what cannot be denied is this: today's bombing in Sadr shows that security threats are evolving faster than state structures. Pakistan's political system may be centralizing, but militants are decentralizing, dispersing, adapting. This tension between an increasingly controlled state and increasingly unpredictable militant landscape will shape Pakistan's next phase. I think that's all for today's episode of Axis Pakistan. We are back, and as you can see, Pakistan is in the middle of a profound recalibration, uh, political, constitutional, military, and now tragically security related once again. In the coming days, We'll bring more reporting, uh, deeper context, and on ground insights from across the region. I'm Omer Farooq Khan. Stay safe. Khuda Hafiz.